So let's make sure those images, which we can take, are also stored. For that, I'll first of all go to the place.dart file in the models folder, and there we need to add something to that model. Because besides storing a title and an ID there, I now also want to store an image. And here for me, the image should be of type file, using that file type, which is provided by Dart.io. And I'll name the property image here. And of course, it should also be set when this place here is instantiated. Then the image should be set. Now this place gets created here in providers. And there we now therefore have to get and use that image. So here in add place, we should accept the image input. And there I expect to get my image as a file. Hence we also need that Dart.io import here in that user places provider file. And with that we can set the image to the image we got here. Now of course we have to make sure that in add place, where we in the end call add place on our provider, on this notifier class, we forward that image that has been selected. And to forward the image, we first of all need to get it here in this add place screen state class. Because at the moment we only have the image input in there, and we have that image inside of the image input in that selected image property here, but we're not getting that image from this image input widget to the add place screen widget. And we of course need to do that. Now to forward the image from this child widget to the parent widget, we can use an approach which we have used many times before in this course. In the child widget, in image input, we accept an extra parameter which will store in a property, and the property will be of type function, because I want to get a function here as a value in this constructor function. Now the function which I expect to get should be a function that returns nothing, but which takes one argument, one parameter of type file, the image that we should forward. I'll name this property here onSelectImage or onPickImage, and I expect to get that function, which should be stored in this property, as a value here in this constructor function for one of my parameters. For a required parameter, to be precise, a required parameter of the same name. Now it's this onPick function which I want to execute here in takePicture after we took an image to let the parent widget, which will pass the function for this onPickImage parameter and property, to image input. So therefore it's that function defined in the parent widget which we'll receive here and which I want to execute here in takePicture once we took an image. So therefore here at the end we can call onPickImage, or to be precise widget.onPickImage, since this is defined in the widget class that belongs to this state here, and we get access to that class through the widget property, as you learned. And we can forward our selected image here as a value to onPickImage. Now selected image theoretically could be null, though we know that here it won't be null because we're setting it equal to this file, which is based on the picked image, which will not be null. Hence here we can add an exclamation mark. With that, in add place.dart, we can add a new variable to add place screen state, the selected image, which will be of type file. Hence I'll set that type here, and it may be null. And for file to be available, we of course, as always, must import from Dart.io. And with that import added, I'm defining this property here. And now we just need to update this whenever an image is picked. And for this here on image input, we must set this newly added onPickImage parameter and set it equal to a function that will get that image from image input in the end, because that is in the end where we will be executing this function. We're executing it here, and we're passing the image to it. And therefore here I get this image file, and in this anonymous function I therefore just have to set selected image equal to that image which I am getting here. We don't need set state here because in here I'm not doing anything that should be updated. The UI doesn't need to be rebuilt just because I picked an image, because the preview is built here in image input, and here I am using set state. But in the add place screen, there is no need to rebuild everything because I'm not updating anything just because an image was picked. Instead, this is all that needs to be done, and with that we have the selected image available here, and therefore now here in save place we can use that selected image to send it to add place. Of course, we also might want to add some validation and check if enter title is empty or if selected image is equal to null, in which case we want to return and not continue with this step. Otherwise, we do want to continue, and in that case, we should also add an exclamation mark here, because we know with certainty that selected image will not be null, and therefore we should also let Dart know about that. And this will now pass the image file to add place.